My name is Greg Bogosian, and I love everything about New England. Each week, I travel the region searching for adventure. And along the way, I visit the places and the people that make New England extraordinary. This is New England like you've never seen it before. This is New England Traveler. I'm here today on the North Shore of Massachusetts to explore the magic of this beautiful part of the state. And I'm starting right here at where else? The Cabot. The Cabot has been a source of a lot of memories for me since I was a kid, and it has a ton of history. Explaining that history to me today is Executive Director Casey Sword.
So the Cabot opened in December 8th, 1920. It's been a single-screen movie theater. It was for vaudeville, silent movies, and then it was the home of Le Grand David and his spectacular magic company for nearly 40 years, from the late 70s till 2012. It sat dormant for 2 years before we took it over back in 2014.
But you go back to the 1920s when this theater was built, and it wasn't always called the Cabot.
That's right. It opened as the Ware Theater. It was built by two brothers called the Ware Brothers, and they built this theater during the Spanish flu pandemic of 1920. During that time period, over 20,000 of these beautiful movie palaces were built. Today, only a couple hundred remain. So the Cabot is really a national treasure that we have right here in our North Shore community. It's been incredible, and over the past 8 years, we've put almost $8 million of funds into the space. Starting with the renovations, we improved the entire orchestra level seating. This beautiful platform that we're standing right now was part of that initial phase. And then since then, we've put in brand new HVAC systems. We've completely modernized the balcony on all of the upstairs. We put in all new production sound and lights, new rigging system on the stage. We beautified the historic lobby. We just recently put in an elevator in our brand new street side bar that you've been to before. So it's really been just an incredible total transformation.
I always love learning about the history of local places, but what I love even more is going behind the scenes. Time for a tour.
Greg, I know you've been here before, but I want to welcome you back to our grand stage here at the Cabot. This is 100 years of magic that has happened here, and when you're standing here, you get the vibe that all these performers get when they're here, and they love this place.
This is, I think, one of the coolest views I've ever done on my show. I can just imagine all of the really amazing performers that have been here. Elvis Costello, Daryl Hall, Darlene Love, icons in the entertainment world, not to mention all the comedians and magicians and people like that. This is a really cool space.
Oh, welcome to the green rooms at the Cabot. Come on in.
Beautiful.
These are where all of our artists come when they're not on stage and they need a place to get off the bus and relax and do their pre-show ritual before the show. This is a hand-painted piano from the magic show that they left it here, and we refurbished it. And so when Elvis Costello was warming up for his show, he's playing on this old magic show piano.
Oh, that's so cool. These are the original balcony seats?
These seats were replaced back in 2019. So when we took over the building, these seats were still in the balcony. We are very committed to accessibility, not only by providing affordable ticket prices to our patrons, but making sure that they can access the theater. So this has been part of our long-term plan, was to always install this elevator. And just a couple months ago, we were able to accomplish that goal. This used to be my office, which is now an elevator shaft. Yeah.
Where's your office now?
It's actually down the street, because we ran out of room for me.
Oh my gosh. As stories go, there is none more magical than that of the Cabot. Opened on December 8, 1920 as a palace for vaudeville and silent movies, it was hailed as the most impressive auditorium of its size east of New York. Originally known as the Ware Theatre, it was designed by the architects of Boston's Athenaeum and Olympia Theatre and Dorchester's Strand Theatre. Casey, thank you so much for inviting me back to the Cabot to explore this historic space. This really is a truly magical place here on the North Shore.
I snuck off to do a little behind-the-scenes thing all by myself. Look where we ended up, the projection room. We got these awesome spotlights and the actual projector. I just can't imagine the amount of history that this room has seen, all the movies, all the performances that have happened over the past century or more. That's pretty cool.
One of the most magical things about the North Shore of Massachusetts is just how historic it is. And you really don't get much more historic
than the House of the Seven Gables right across the bridge, Salem, Mass.
I was invited by Kara McLaughlin to take a private tour of the grounds and all of its historic buildings.
Welcome to the House of the Seven Gables.
Awesome, yeah, thank you for having me. Tell me about the House of the Seven Gables and Hawthorne.
We're in the room where we start the tour. This is called the orientation space. And as you'll see, there's a timeline that actually goes around from pre-Turner Ingersoll Mansion times, when this area was used as a nomkeg, to 1668. For us, we're going to talk about fortune, fame, and philanthropy. And this period of fortune began in 1668 when John Turner and his wife Elizabeth built this house. The fortune came from the maritime trade, mostly the transatlantic trade, where merchants would take lumber and cod from here in New England down to the Caribbean, where they would exchange it for sugar and rum, and then go over to England, where they would get finished goods, etc. And they made a lot of money in this trade. And then we come to the fame period, when Nathaniel Hawthorne would visit his cousin here. So Nathaniel Hawthorne, of course, some might say the first true American author, but famous for his works like The Scarlet Letter and The House of the Seven Gables. He was inspired to write his novel after his visits here to the house, and it, of course, propelled the house to fame, to the point where people wanted to come inside. So in the late 1800s, people wanted to see inside the house, and they were willing to pay for it. But our founder, her name is Caroline Emerton. She was a philanthropist, very generous, but also really brilliant. Probably one of the earliest social entrepreneurs in the country. She was part of the settlement movement, and that was a social movement at the time that was dedicated toward helping poor, mostly immigrant communities gain English and other job skills and life skills and build community. She saw this opportunity with her settlement work. When this house went for sale, she said, you know what, I'm gonna buy it, I'll turn it into a museum, and I'll use the proceeds from admissions to fund my settlement work. That brings us all the way to today. So we've got our fortune, our fame, and our philanthropy.
Let's start the tour. Let's get going.
Great.
All right.
In 1668, merchant and shipowner John Turner I and his wife Elizabeth Robinson Turner built a house on Salem Harbor that was destined to become one of America's most beloved historic homes. The House of the Seven Gables was designated a National Historic Landmark District in 2007 and is best known today as the setting of world-renowned American author Nathaniel Hawthorne's 1851 novel of the same name.
This is the original portion of the house that was built in 1668. And you can see some of the original beams, the framing here. Even these bricks were original. But this space was really private space. It's where the cooking would have happened. Only the family would have been in this space, and indentured servants or enslaved people. This is a space that would have been used for entertaining, and you can tell so by the beautiful architecture that you see here, the Georgian paneling, which was actually added by John Turner II, who inherited the house from his parents. He doubled the family's wealth, and he made a lot of changes to the house, including adding this paneling throughout. His son, John Turner III, lost the family fortune. It was sold at auction to a man named Captain Samuel Ingersoll. And this was shortly after the American Revolution.
Throughout Hawthorne's novel, the House of Seven Gables takes on a dark and ominous tone. It is old, weather-beaten, and in terrible disrepair. You won't see that version of the house today, but you will hear about the awful curse that animates the dark underbelly of Hawthorne's story.
Caroline Emerton added the secret stairway, we think, to explain the way a character in the novel moved mysteriously through the house. And it's actually right behind our friend John here.
Right there?
Yeah, right there.
Oh, look at that.
If you want to take a peek in there.
Yes, I do. I do. This is really cool. Okay, yeah, you gotta show me how that works.
We just grab up there.
I want to put one of these in my house.
So I will let you go first. It's about 22 steps up.
This is like one of my favorite things about New England, is all of these just secret tunnels and staircases and stuff to explore. Really cool. So I remember this really was my favorite part of the house when I came to visit it as a kid, and it's still my favorite part of the house. This is very cool. All right.
All right, you got the chicken cutlet sandwiches, you got the specialty hot dogs, milkshakes. Definitely got to try those house-made pickles.
Today, the House of the Seven Gables is an expansive property consisting of several buildings in addition to the main house. Kara McLaughlin showed me there is a lot more to this historic attraction than I thought.
Tell me a little bit about the room we're in now.
And this is in the space of that grand addition that was put on at the end when the Turners just had so much money, they didn't know what to do with it. And they could literally burn heat. They didn't need to keep the ceilings low, and they had plenty of money to buy wood for the fireplace. No, but they would entertain here, coffee, play cards, do some readings, things like that. Some close entertaining.
Would this be considered a living room? There's no grand dining table here, so is this just a living space?
Yeah, no, this would have been the primary entertaining space. And this is like one of the finest examples of Georgian architecture in the country. And that's marked by the paint colors here. This is verdigris paint, which is gray paint infused with copper, and that's what gives it a sheen like it is. And then this very decorative wallpaper that was hand painted and stenciled, all very significant of the wealth. The other indicator of wealth and key to entertaining is the drinks cupboard. The Turners, they were Quakers, which meant that they did drink, just not to excess. They would have offered their guests rum, wine, Madeira, and they would have been serving it in beautiful imported crystal, like you see here. This door is actually a reproduction of the original door that was here in the house, and it's another flashy way of saying we have a lot of money. So these nails are hand-forged nails that were quite expensive in colonial times. They were not needed to hold the door together, so they're strictly for a decorative purpose.
Yeah, it looks like a decoration.
Yeah, it's beautiful though, isn't it?
It really is. It's very unique.
The House of the Seven Gables is one of those magical places on the North Shore that allows visitors to take a step back in time. And if you're wondering what my next stop is, one might say it's magically delicious.
You know, some days, nothing is better than a good old-fashioned chicken sandwich. And today happens to be one of those days. So I am at Chicken and the Pig here at Market Street in Litchfield, Mass. Let's go get some chicken. Guy, I love chicken sandwiches, and I'm super excited to dig into some of these delicious sandwiches here at Chicken and the Pig. But first, I want to learn about the story behind you and Chicken and the Pig.
Chicken and the Pig started 25 years ago, started in the catering business and evolved into a food truck. We started doing hand-breaded, crunchy, delicious chicken sandwiches. And we moved into a brick and mortar here at Market Street in Linfield. And we're super excited to have you try us out today.
Well, Guy, the food truck business has obviously exploded over the past several years, right? And a lot of these food truck businesses now have converted themselves into a brick and mortar because they have a clientele, they have an audience for their brand, right? How fast was it expanding? Like when you're the food truck, were you like, oh my God, we got to do something now because we're outgrowing this truck?
So at the end of the first year, we said, all right, I think we got something here. Let's start looking for somewhere how we can expand here. And I'm from Linfield. I always thought Market Street was a great spot to open a business. There's tons of people, there's foot traffic. We found a great little spot that kind of fit us good.
All right, Guy. I think it's time that we stop talking about chicken sandwiches and start eating them. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
I think I want something like a little bit basic. I want to taste that chicken. I want to really get into it. What do you recommend?
We have our house sandwich. The bird is the word. It starts out with a grilled buttered brioche bun. We put our house sauce. It's like a smoky mayo-y barbecue sauce. And our house-made garlic dill pickles.
This really is an incredible chicken sandwich, and the brioche bun, everything about it. It's just amazing.
That chicken sandwich was awesome. The sauce, totally unique. But for me, it was all about those homemade pickles. So far, there is no doubt that the bird is the word, but it's time to take one of their dogs for a walk.
What am I gonna be eating now with the hot dog?
This is our house dog here. Started up with our KM quarter-pound dog.
I don't eat a lot of hot dogs, but if and when I do, it's gotta be beef and pork. So this is really good. If you like hot dogs, then yeah, I would definitely recommend it because, again, it's a beef and pork dog. All the stuff on it is amazing.
Start out with our garlic dill. It's a family recipe. We do a spicy garlic dill. We add habanero peppers to them. They got a nice little kick to it. And new to our menu, a fried pickle.
All right. I'm gonna start off with the classic right here.
You gotta give one of these a shot. Don't eat the pepper though. No. You won't be able to talk on camera.
But here it comes. I feel that little afterburn. That's good too. These are all awesome. Guy Chalfie, thank you very much for inviting me down to Chicken and the Pig and sharing all your awesome recipes with me, from the chicken sandwiches to the specialty hot dogs to these awesome house-made pickles. I'm stuffed.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Greg.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Well, why don't we go backstage and I'll show you around.
All right.
All right.
It says private here. Is that what you're talking about?
You're going to get the backstage tour.
All right. I don't know about you, but I love magic and illusions. I'm here today at Off Cabot in Beverly to meet up with magician Evan Northrup. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of magic, and maybe if I'm lucky, learn a trick or two. Casey, this show is all about the magic of the North Shore, and I think we're in one of the premier places for magic on the North Shore. Tell me about this space.
We are here at Off Cabot Comedy and Events in Beverly, Massachusetts. For a long history of this space, it was part of LeGrand David's Spectacular Magic Company. It was connected to the Larkham Theatre right here in Beverly. And when this space came up a couple of years ago, we decided to turn it into a space where alternative programming could happen. So it functions primarily on the weekends as a comedy space for stand-up comedy, and we bring the best comedians from all around the country here every weekend. But in addition to that, we have a magic show that performs here every month. We're bringing in a Broadway night every month. We have all kinds of great burlesque and drag performers coming in, and it's really become a great place for local performers who are very, very talented to be able to come into a beautiful space and perform and to really up the level of their show. This is our performer green room. It's a really welcoming space for all of the different performers, from the comedians to the magicians to the drag performers that come here. They all say that this is the best green room that they've ever been in. We think this is one of the coolest staircases imaginable. It's been here for 100 years or more, and this is going to take us right up to where the magic happens.
Evan Northrup is a magician from Salem, Massachusetts, who has been performing magic around the world for 20 years. I am very excited to hit the stage with Evan and try some magic myself.
Evan.
Hey, Greg.
Nice to meet you, man.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, I am so excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this show for a long time because I am an admirer of magic.
Have you ever heard of the 3-card Monty?
Yeah, I think I have, yeah.
And the goal of the game is to find the different card, which in this case would be the Queen of Clubs. And if you had to guess, where would you say the Queen is now?
I would think it's in the middle.
In the middle? Yeah. Okay, you're very good at this game, even face down. Try this. If I had you take the Queen out, and we won't bet for money, but go ahead, pull the Queen out, leave it face down for right now.
Okay.
And what if I showed you that you had left behind the 2 aces? You'd probably raise your bet at that point, right?
Oh yeah, I'm doubling down.
Excellent. Go ahead, take a look.
All right. What is it about magic that attracts us to it?
It's something different for everyone. For me, I got into it when I was really young, about 8 years old. And I think at that age, it was the puzzle of it. I was one of those people that really liked trying to figure out how it was done. And as I got older, and I think this is what a lot of people are drawn to about it, it becomes less about knowing how the specific secrets are done and a little more about looking at ordinary things like playing cards or money or rope or whatever it is in a slightly different way and finding like the curiosities that are in this space and in this world all around us. I think that's what keeps you coming back.
French magician Jean-Eugène Robert Houdin is credited as being the father of modern magic for turning magic and illusions into a popular theatrical art form. In the 20th century, inspired by the French magician Houdin, an aspiring teenage magician named Eric Weiss conjured up the stage name for himself, Harry Houdini, and ushered in the golden age of magic.
This is absolutely one of my favorite tricks, the mystery of the 3 pieces of rope. Now, I don't expect the people at home to trust me here, but they do trust you. So if you wouldn't mind, give the ropes a check, right? Tug on them, pull on them, make sure that doesn't stretch. We've got one very long piece of rope there.
That's a rope. That's not going anywhere.
It's a rope. That's, Home Depot's finest. One very tiny piece of rope.
Okay.
Beautiful. And one, whoosh, there we go. One exactly medium length piece of rope. Give it a tug.
Oh yeah, that's a rope.
Beautiful. An optical illusion for you, all right? Hold these up so that everyone can see an optical illusion. If we take the end of the long piece of rope, just like that, and we touch it to the end of the medium piece of rope, just like that, and we touch both to the end of the short piece of rope, just like that, nothing happens. We haven't done the magic move yet. Can you do a magic move for me? And look at over here, it creates the illusion that those ropes start to stretch just a little bit. And over there, it creates the illusion just a little bit more. And the best point of view for this optical illusion is the magician's point of view. I'll give you that from the back. And if you look at it that way, you end up with 3 pieces of rope, not a short, medium, and long, one that's about the length of the medium one, more or less, that you had, a second one that's almost the same length as that first one, and a third one that's about the same length as the first 2. Which doesn't make sense. I know what the problem is.
There was a short one there.
There was a short one. It was somewhere around here, I swear. I think 3 ropes is too many. There's only 2 of us. You only have 2 eyes. It's too much. Let's get rid of one of these for the time being, because then 2 ropes is a little easier. No, even 2 ropes, that's 4 ends. Let's just do this with 1 long rope. How about that? That's
okay.
Is that easier? It's all making sense now, I think, right? We think so with 1 long piece of rope, but I'll tell you what, it can be more confusing. If you're not careful with that 1 long piece of rope, those ends can just come right off the rope, in which case we're in a bad situation here, because then you end up with a rope with no ends, and that's okay. I can always take those ends, drape them back onto the rope like that. We give it your little magic move right there. Perfect. And it falls back onto the rope to get to our 1 long piece of rope.
Casey, I think Evan might have left one of his boxes.
That's pretty light.
Like nothing in it. What the? Oh. Where did you come from?
I don't know. I wasn't here a second ago.
There was nothing in there. Was light. All right, I'm getting out of here. This is freaking me out.